sutang ekang samayang bhagava Savantiyang viharati jetavane anatha pindikansa arame Atako anyatara devata abhinkantaya rantiya abhinkantavanna Kevalakampang jetavanang obasenva Yena bhagavate nupasankami Upasankaminva bhagavantang abhivadenva Ekamantang antasi Ekamantang titakosa devata Bhagavantang gataya anjabasi Bahudeva manunsaca mangalani acintayung Akangkamana sontanang brohi mangalamuntamang Asevanaca balanang panditanang ca sevana Puja ca pujaniyanang etang mangalamuntamang Patirupadesavasoca pumbija kata punyata Anta samma panidija etang mangalamuntamang Bahu sancanca simpanca vinayoca susinkito Subhasita jaya vaca etang mangalamuntamang Mata pitu upantanang puntadaran sesanggaho Anakulaca kammanta etang mangalamuntamang Dananca dhammacariyaca nyatakananca sanggaho Anavanjani kammani etang mangalamuntamang Arati virati papa manjapanaca sanyamo Ampamadoca dhammesu etang mangalamuntamang Garavoca nivatoca santuntica katang yuta Halena dhamma savanang etang mangalamuntamang Kantica sovacansata samanananca dansanang Halena dhamma sakanca etang mangalamuntamang Tapoca brahmacariyanca ariya sancana dansanang Nibbana sancikiriyaca etang mangalamuntamang Puntang seloka dhammi Cintang yansana kampati Asokang virajang kemang Etang mangalamuntamang Eta disani kanvana සම්බන්තමපරාජිතා සම්බන්ත සොන්තිං ගච්ඡන්තිතං තේසං මංගල මුන්තමන්ති ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං කරණීයමන්ත කුසලේන යන්තං සන්තං පදං අභිසමිච්ඡ සක්ඛෝජුච සුජුච සුවචෝචං සමුදෝ අනතිමානි සන්තුන්සකෝච සුභරෝච අම්පකින්චෝච සල්ලහුකවුන්ති සන්තින්ද්‍රියෝච නිපකෝච අම්පගම්බෝ කුලේසු අනුනුගින්දෝ නච කුන්දං සමාචරේ කිංචි යේන විඤ්ඤූ පරේ උපදේයං සුඛිනෝ වාකේමිනෝ හන්තු සම්බේ සන්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතන්තා ඒකේචිපාන භූතන්ති තසවාතාවරාවා අනවසේසා දීඝාවායේ මහන්තාවා මංජිමාරංසකානුකතුලා දිත්ථාවායේව අන්දින්තා යේච දුරේ වසන්ති අවිදුරේ භූතාවා සම්භවේසීවා සම්බේ සන්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතන්තා නපරෝ පරං නිකුම්බේත ඥාති මඤ්ඤේත කන්තචිනං කංචි ව්‍යාරෝසනා පටික සංඥා ඥාඤ්ඤමඤ්ඤංස දුක්ඛමිච්ඡේය මාතා යතානියං පුන්තං ආයුසා ඒක පුන්ත මනුරංකේ ඒවම්පි සම්බභූතේසු මාන සංභාවයේ අපරිමාණං මෙත්තංච සම්බලෝකස්මින් මාන සංභාවයේ අපරිමාණං උන්දං අදෝච තිරියංච අසංභාදං අවේරං අසපත්තං තින්ඨං චරං නිසින්නෝවා සයානෝවා යාවතංස විගතමින්දෝ ඊතං සතින් අදින්ඨේය බ්‍රහ්මමේතං විහාරං ඉදමාහෝ දින්ඨින්ච අනුපගම්ම සීලවා දන්සනේන සම්පන්නෝ කාමේසු විනය්‍යගේදං නහි ජාතු ගම්බසේයං පුනරේති. එවං මේ සුතං ඒකං සමයං භගවා සාවන්තියං විහෙරති 제තවනේ අනාථ පින්ඩිකංස ආරාමේ අතකෝ අඤ්ඤතරා දේවතා අබින්කන්තාය රන්තියා අබින්කන්තවන්නා කේවල කම්පං 제තවනං ඕවාසෙන්වා යේන භගවාතේනුපසංකමී උපසංකමින්වා භගවන්තං අභිවාදෙන්වා ඒකමන්තං අන්තාසී ඒකමන්තං පිතාකෝසා දේවතා භගවන්තං ගාතාය අංජබාසී බහුදේවා මනුන්සාච මංගලානි අචින්තයොං ආකංකමානා සොන්තානං බ්‍රෝහි මංගලමුන්තමං අසේවනාච බාලානං පණ්ඩිතානංච සේවනා පූජාච පූජනීයානං ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං පතිරූපදේශවාසෝච පුම්බේච කත පුඤ්ඤතා අන්ත සම්මා පනිදිච ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං බාහු සංචංච සිම්පංච විනයෝච සුසිංකිතෝ සුභාසිතා.
Namo Buddhaya. A very good morning to all our brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today is a bright Sunday. Happy to see all of you again. And thank you very much for those who who have tuned in the moment we went live this morning. Remember, you can still share the link with your family and friends, or to those of you who have smart television, mirror today's event in your smart TV in your living room. Brothers and sisters, welcome to our 63rd online Sunday Buddha Puja service. And we have been doing this weekly online puja service to give it and continue the opportunity to the Buddhist devotees near and far to continue with our Buddhist faith and practices, a chance to listen to the chanting and listening to the Dhamma. Welcome our Dhamma friends who are watching out of Subang Jaya and Selangor. Brothers and sisters, let's prepare ourselves by sitting comfortably, relax our bodies, and compose our mind. Let go of thinking about the past and future. Be in the present moment. I shall now hand over to our puja leader, Sister Anne. Over to you, Sister Anne.
Thank you, Brother Chuan. Good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Let us begin with our Sunday Buddha Puja. May we invite Brother Chin to make the offerings to the Buddha. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, if you have prepared the offerings, you may also light your candles or oil lamps and make your offerings to the Buddha. To the other devotees, let us place our palms together in Anjali and have a calm mind. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. 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 Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us pay homage to the Triple Gem. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us together take refuge in the Triple Gem and observe the 5 precepts. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami. Tutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kami sumiccacara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Suramiraya Majjapama Dattana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Itipiso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho Vichacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu Anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati Satta deva manusana buddho bhagavati Swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko oppanayiko pacchatang veditabbu vinyuhiti Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Nyayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Samicipatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Jajitang chattari purisa yugani atta purisa pukkala esa bhagavato savaka sangho ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjali karaniyo Anuttarang punyaketang lokasati Vandami cetiyang sabbang sabbatani supatititang Saririkadatu mahabodhi Buddha rupang sakalang sada Yasamule nisinova sabbari vijayang aka Pattu sabbanyutang satta vanditang buddhipadapang Ime ete mahabodhi lokanatena pujita Ahampite namassami bodhiraja namattute Ganasarapaditena dipena tamadansina Tilokadipang sambuddhang pujayami tamodadang Ganda sambara yuddena dupenahang sugandina Pujaye pujaniyang tang puja bhajana muttamang Vanaganda gunopetang etang kusuma santating Pujayami munindassa siripada sararuhe Pujemi buddhang kusumena nena punyena metena jahotu mukkang Pupang milayati yatha idang me kayo tatayati vinassa bhavang Adivasetu no bante paniyang parikapitang Anukampang upadaya patiganhatu muttamang Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang Acayang kamame bante buripanya tathagata Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang Acayang kamame dhamma sandittika akalika Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang Acayang kamame sangha supatipanna anuttara Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu
Namo Buddhaya, brothers and sisters in the Dharma. This morning, we are very pleased to be able to invite Brother Tan Sang Chai once again to be with us in our Sunday Buddha Puja to give us a Dharma talk with the title, The Divine Brahma Vihara. I think most of us already know Brother Sang Chai very, very well. But for the information of those who may be new to him, please allow me to introduce Brother Tan Sang Chai. Brother Sang Chai is the lay Dharma advisor of Subang Jaya Buddhist Association. He began his formal Buddhist education as a student of the Buddhist Institute Sunday Dharma School in Brickfields at the age of 12. Among his early teachers were the late Venerable K. Sri Ramananda and the Venerable Guna Ratana. He joined the Buddhist Mission Society youth session at the Buddhist Brahma Vihara after completing his tertiary studies and served as a vice chairman and then chairman. He also served in the ESCO of the parent body, BMSM. He is active in sharing Dharma at various Buddhist centers in Malaysia and Singapore, and is also a striving meditator. Brother Siang Chai was the head of the Dharma committee while serving in the ESCO of Subang Jaya Buddhist Association, and was appointed as his lay Dharma advisor. Currently, he is the director of Nalanda Institute, the education arm of Nalanda Buddhist Society. His talks center around daily practice of the Dharma and how it transforms one's life. He feels it is important to understand the essential teachings of the Buddha, as it gives Buddhists a strong foundation of knowledge which prevents them from wrong interpretations and practice of the Dharma. Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, if you have any questions pertaining to this talk, please type your questions in the comment section. We shall then invite Brother Siang Chai to answer your questions after the talk. And in case there's any time constraint and we're not able to answer all the questions, please forgive us. Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, we now invite Brother Siang Chai to deliver the talk, The Divine Brahma Vihara. Brother Siang Chai.
Good morning, dear Dhamma brothers and sisters. I'm very happy again to be with you on this Sunday morning to share with you my thoughts on what I feel is a very important subject, especially for us Buddhist lay people. And this is about the divine Brahma Vihara. And we have heard every now and then about this important topic on the divine Brahma Viharas. So today, what I'd like to do is to start this talk as one in a series. I think I will continue with this subject in my next talk, and perhaps the one after that, because there is some practice involved in this. So I hope that you will listen to gather some information. And after this, if you can, also put it into practice, because the states of mind involved in the Brahma Vihara will help us to see the world in a different light, see other human beings and other beings as well in a different way, and to relate to them in a much more positive perspective, right? So can we start the slideshow? Yes. So these are also called the divine mind states. And I will explain why they are called divine. Because divine has an element of influence of those beings that are higher than us. So we call those beings divine beings. Which means to say they are born in places, in realms that are a lot more pleasant than the human world. So when they are born in those realms, their minds are very much happy. So when we practice the 4 Brahma Vihara, our minds will be like those beings, because they enjoy a lot of peace, a lot of happiness, and a lot of contentment as well. So therefore, in preparing our minds to be happy and peaceful and contented, we take on the characteristics of the minds of the Brahma beings. And I will explain shortly about these Brahma beings. What exactly are they? And did they have a part to play in the Buddha's life when the Buddha was still alive in India? All right. So this term Brahma Vihara it needs to be explained, and I will explain also what they mean as we go along. Next, please. So they are called the divine abodes. The term Vihara, it means an abode, an abiding. That means it is a place where people stay. So you can say this is the place where the divine beings are staying. And it, as I mentioned, those divine beings have very, very happy mental states. Yeah, their lives are very, very long compared to ours. Yeah, and they have very, very contented minds. So they are not seeking to have anger and confrontation and arguments and fighting, yeah, in their lives. And therefore, when we understand what they are and what are their characteristics, they seem to be, and the Buddha also advised us that they are very good examples for us to actually follow. So, is it possible? The question then arises, is it possible to practice such wonderful, such happy states of mind in our cruel world? In our world nowadays, we know that the people who live in the world with us, yeah, are not that happy, and they are not that friendly, and they are not that peaceful as well. So can we share the world with them if we practice this friendliness and loving kindness, and this kind of peaceful way of looking at life? So this is the challenge. And my responsibility today is to convince my dear friends, yeah, dear brothers and sisters, that it is worthwhile to practice the Brahma Viharas in our lives. Just for the simple fact that our mind states will be more positive, our mind states will be more wholesome. And so this is the discussion, this is the argument that we will take with us all through this talk. Is it really worthwhile? Yeah, why should I do it? Everybody is very, very cunning. Everybody is very aggressive. Why should I treat them, yeah, with kindness, with love, and with peace? Yeah, because there doesn't seem to be, yeah, a connection. There doesn't seem to be an alignment. Yeah, they are like this, I am like that. Yeah, and somebody is going to lose out. They might take advantage of us. They might overcome us. Yeah, and then we will be at a loss. So is it really worthwhile? So, dear brothers and sisters, keep your mind on this question. Is it worthwhile? Yeah, and as we go along, yeah, we can make some very informed decisions about whether these Brahma Viharas are good for us to practice. Next, please. So I would like to share with you some information which I came across in my preparation, yeah, in my research. The world today, yeah, is a very connected world. That is to say, we are using technology right now, yeah, and although we cannot come together as a crowd, as an audience, I am still able to connect with you. I'm still able to talk to you and share my thoughts and opinions. So we are always available because we carry our mobile phones, our handphones around, yeah, and our friends, our families, even the office people, the colleagues that we work with, they can contact us anytime, and we are in contact with them all times of the day as well. So this world, yeah, that is just us. The wider world is also very, very connected, which means it doesn't need much effort for us to pick up the device, the phone, and call people and talk to them all over the world. to them, and connect with them. But a very strange thing has been found by Forbes magazine in the world, and they always try to understand what's happening in the world, what is happening with people, and how do they live their lives according to their aims, their objectives, their ambitions. So it has been found, it has been proven by Forbes, this well-known magazine, through the research that they carried out. And they found that recent studies have shown that despite being more connected than ever, more people feel more alone than ever. Surprisingly, those who report feeling the most alone are those you would expect it from least. That means they are the most connected. I'm now in my 60s. Although I use the phone, I don't use it all the time. I use it only to send certain messages and to read the news. And I very seldom I make a phone call that lasts more than 1 minute or 2 minutes. Very seldom. But the young people, they are very, very connected. There are so many apps and software that connect them. So it is surprising that this group, young people under 35, who are the most prolific social networkers, they feel the most alone. The ones who use the devices, the ones who use technology the most, feel alone. So that tells us the state of mind, how they are looking at the world, is not conducive for happiness. Although they are so connected, they get the news, they get all sorts, they understand what is happening around the world almost as it is happening in real time. They also connect with their friends through the social media, but yet they feel the most alone. So, which means to say, although the technology allows us to connect, we don't feel connected. And this is what the research is showing. So that means that perhaps the software, the hardware, the technology might be very efficient, but the human beings do not know actually how to reach out to each other. They might get news, they might be connected socially, but they do not know how to be friends with each other, how to understand each other, how to be a network that encourages each other. So it's not just one survey or one study that shows this. There are many other surveys, and if you go online, you will find that this is only one of the findings that people are beginning to understand about technology and human beings. Next, please. So to practice the Brahma Viharas, which I will explain after this, we need to have the right view about what is happening in life and how we should treat other human beings. Because if we don't have the right view, we will think that there is no need to be kind. There is no need to be good. There is no need to reach out. I am who I am, and that is enough. What I can do is I can reach out and get the things I want. But the survey I just showed you shows that this is not the most conducive way. It doesn't really make people happy in that way. Although they can reach out very easily and get what they want through technology, it doesn't make them feel happy. They feel very alone in this very connected world. So right view makes us think that it encourages us, it influences us to think about the nature of us, ourselves, the nature of other beings, and how do we connect with them meaningfully. And when we go to right thought, yeah, these are two factors on the Noble Eightfold Path. So we are using the Buddha's teachings now to give us an insight and understanding into how we can be happier human beings. So right thought tells us that it will be good for us not to harbor thoughts of anger, not to harbor thoughts of harm towards other people. As I said, you look in this world, many people in this world, yeah, who are in positions of power, they are expected to be aggressive. They are expected, to stand and fight others. But right thought tells us you can be in a position of power, but that doesn't mean you need to be aggressive. So these are the first two factors in the Noble Eightfold Path. Yeah, the Buddha said, look at this world. Yeah, there are people who are suffering in this world, and they are suffering, and they try to relieve their suffering by using technology, but it is not as efficient as we think it is. Right thought tells us that we should be kind to others. We should give up thoughts of harming others. So these two will now launch. It is the starting point for us to understand the four Brahma Viharas. So my dear friends, keep this in mind. The understanding that human beings are suffering, they want to have happiness, but they cannot achieve that happiness. The second one tells us, if you really want to be happy, you will have to maintain the state of mind that is connected to kindness and goodness and friendliness and compassion, so that other human beings can come closer and closer to us, and we can come closer to other human beings. Next, please. So, in the Dveda Vitaka Sutta, the Buddha outlines how important our thoughts are and how our thoughts influences our inclinations and our personalities as well. Why do I choose to talk about it? You see, in our world, we think many thoughts, as a result of looking at the world. And also the way that we interact with others, we mix with others, with our family, with our friends, with our colleagues, with our bosses. As we interact with them, we think a lot. And if our thoughts are not controlled, are not influenced or guided by what I shared with you just now, right view and right thought, then we will move along a path that makes us very angry. And we will have angry thoughts and aggressive thoughts all the time. We will be critical. I mean, it is not wrong to be critical, but we will also criticize through seeing things in a very negative way. So our thoughts will always be thoughts of complaining, of discontentment, of anger, of aggression, of not friendliness. And so these thoughts keep coming up again and again and again. And if these thoughts are not controlled, it will mold our personality. And because our personalities make us who we are, our lives will then be controlled by the way our personalities, our character, how our character tells us to behave. And where does it start? It starts with just the thought. We keep thinking the same thing again and again and again. And there are some people who like to bathe, shower. They like to get into the bathtub of angry thoughts. They like to get into, this container, of very unhappy and very disturbing thoughts. They don't want to get out. They say, this is how I see the world. This is how I want to mold my perspective, the way that I see the world. So the 4 Brahma Viharas is a change of the bathtub water. You will start bathing in a different kind of water. But it's important to know how it starts. So today's talk will lay the groundwork for our practice later on. Today's talk will just give you a lot of information about the nature of our minds and how it is important to have positive states of mind guiding us, coming up in us, influencing us all the time, as much as possible. So this is what the Buddha says, and this is the Buddha's word, because he could see the nature of the mind. He told his disciples, bhikkhus, whatever a bhikkhu frequently thinks and ponders upon, this will become the inclination of his mind. It often, we will become like what we think. If he frequently thinks and ponders upon thoughts of renunciation, he has abandoned the thought of sensual desire to cultivate the thought of renunciation, then his mind inclines to thoughts of renunciation. So this renunciation mainly means to leave the household life, but it could also mean that we renounce the thoughts of anger, the thoughts of ill will, the thoughts of wanting to harm and cheat other people. We give them up, and then we see where our mind will go after that. The Buddha further goes and says, if he frequently thinks and ponders upon thoughts of non-ill will, upon thoughts of non-cruelty, he has abandoned the thought of cruelty to cultivate the thought of non-cruelty. And then his mind inclines to thoughts of non-cruelty. So, in a way, it is very fruitful for dear Dhamma brothers and sisters to tune in to Dhamma talks at least once a week on Sundays, because I would think during the Dhamma talk, there are ideas and thoughts of non-cruelty, of behaving well, of being friendly and kind to other people. At least on the Sunday morning, you will listen to such thoughts, and hopefully such thoughts will influence us. And the more it influences us, our thinking, our personality will shift towards being more friendly and kind to other people, in spite of the fact that this world is a very, very cruel world. It is not a friendly world, but we can be friendly and kind in a world that is not kind to us. And then we can see there can be changes. I'm not saying we can change every living person in the world, but there can be changes in our community if we start being more and more kind to ourselves, to have thoughts of friendliness, and to the people that are nearest to us. Next, please. So the 4 Brahma Vihara in Pali are these qualities: Metta, Karuna, Mudita, and Upekkha. You must have heard of these 4 qualities many times before, mentioned very often in the Buddha's teachings. And sometimes, although they are not mentioned specifically, like metta is metta, there is always the mention of being friendly, being kind, being good to other people. Metta means friendliness. It is loving kindness. It means opening our hearts to other people. Karuna means compassion. And that means that we are very unhappy when we see people suffering and we want to help them. Yeah, there is an understanding, there is wisdom in this karuna. We can see suffering and we can understand suffering as well. Mudita means altruistic or sympathetic joy. It means when we see people being happy, we are happy ourselves. The opposite, the very clear opposite of mudita is jealousy. When we are, that means when we see people being more successful, we get jealous. We become unhappy seeing their success, how they are enjoying their life. We become unhappy in that way. So that is the opposite of mudita. And upekka means equanimity. Equanimity means that we are not affected. We are not affected by the ups and downs of the world. Whether we are undergoing success or whether we are undergoing challenges, the mind still stays balanced, and happy, in that way, right? Next, please. So this is the thing that is, in fact, it is very, very strange. How the four Brahma Viharas protect us is in a very nurturing way. We are used to having a lot of defenses because when we go into the world to work, to interact with others, we put up a lot of defenses in our heart, in our mind. Because we don't want people to hurt us. We don't want people to make us angry. We don't want people to disturb our sense of well-being. But the strange thing about the Brahma Viharas is we open our heart to the world. We open our heart to other people. And in that way means we let down our defenses. So because we are so positive, because we are so reaching out to others, we will have to let down our defensive way of thinking. But even though we let down our defenses, we cannot be hurt. Is that strange? Does that make any sense to you, brothers and sisters? Does it seem logical that even though we open up to other people, we are not hurt by what they do to us? This is the result of practicing the Brahma Vihara. Our hearts are so open, are so full of space that whatever people throws at us can be contained in the heart. We open up so wide. We open up, with our arms, that whatever you throw, I can accept. So therefore, you cannot hurt me. But if we maintain a small heart, if we put up our defenses, not allow people to come close to us, we have a lot of defenses. But at the same time, we are scared to be hurt by what they say and what they do to us. So it is another way of thinking. It is a switching, a changing of the paradigm. You open up, you cannot be hurt. You close up, you can be hurt. It is not easy to understand, but I hope I am making a very good case. I can present to you the Brahma Viharas in such a way that will encourage everyone to open up your hearts. Next, please. So, also, there is information There are research. Yeah, I like to also be informed, know about what is happening in the world of science and how they are understanding the nature of our thinking, of our mind. So this research by the Harvard University in the US tells us, yeah, and this is quite interesting. It says having happy friends can make you happy. That means if you, or in the same way, if you are happy, you will influence others around you to be happy as well. So this research is very long, yeah. But if you can go to the website of the Harvard Gazette, yeah, you can see what they write. Yeah, and it is something which is scientifically observable. That means they see it as scientists. That a happy person begins to influence the people around him or her, and then those people becoming happy through the first person goes and influence others around them. But if you are unhappy, right, you can influence others to be unhappy, and then after that they avoid you because you are such an unhappy person. But if you are happy, you will make an impact. You will influence them to also be as happy as you. Therefore, yeah, I hope I am beginning to convince you to practice these 4 Brahma states, because they are the states of mind of these beings, yeah, that never think angry thoughts, never think about harming others. Okay, next please. So, who are these Brahma? Yeah, I've been talking a lot about the Brahma beings, and they live in the Brahma realm. Yeah, and where is this Brahma realm? Yeah, is it above us? Yeah, and what are the characteristics? What is the nature of this Brahma realm? Yeah, so these beings, they are called Brahmas, and this Brahma, this word Brahma, is very significant, yeah, in Hinduism. Before Hinduism was formed, yeah, there were a set of practices that were very popular during the time of the Buddha 2,600 years ago. And many scholars and historians call these practices Brahmanism, because the aim of those people was to connect with Brahma. They believed that Brahma was the creator being, the creator of the world, and they wanted to reconnect with Brahma. You know, because Brahma created them, they are not complete, they are not happy. Their version, their understanding of happiness is to do a lot of these things, and some of these things were rather strange things. Yeah, to do a lot of practices and then connect back with Brahma, and then they will be happy. So there was the concept, the idea of Brahma being, yeah, one Brahma only, yeah, in Hinduism at that time. But in Buddhism, the Buddha saw the Brahma beings, and the Brahma beings came to interact with the Buddha as well. When did they come to interact with the Buddha? Now let us see that when they made appearance in the Buddha's life. Next, please. Yes. So in the first picture on the left, there was a Brahma called, and there are many Brahma beings, not just one, called Gatikara Mahabrahma. And it was the wish of Gatikara Mahabrahma that when the Prince Siddhartha left to renounce the world, he would like to present the set of robes to this ascetic Gautama. No longer Prince Siddhartha, but now the ascetic, yeah, the holy man Gautama. So you can see in this picture that the Prince Siddhartha left the palace with his charioteer and on the horse, and then he cut off his hair. Here is rather dramatic. He threw the hair in the air just to show that he was renouncing the world. And there is a being on the left-hand side. That being looks like a very rich man, but actually it is Gatikara Mahabrahma, who saw that the prince had renounced. He fulfilled his wish to offer the first set of robes to the Bodhisattva, to the ascetic Gautama. So that was the time that the Brahmas came to interact with the Buddha. And then the next time was this Brahma Sahampati, which has been depicted in Thai temples and other temples as having 4 faces. And actually, we visualize or we illustrate this Brahma as having 4 faces because the Brahma can see in all directions. So human beings are like that. Because we hear that somebody can see in all directions, he must have 4 faces. He must have 4 sets of eyes. Then this is how we paint or we depict or we make sculptures of this Brahma being. This Brahma being called Brahma Sahampati was very significant because he invited the Buddha after the enlightenment. The first one is before enlightenment. The second one is after enlightenment. Brahma Sahampati came to where the Buddha was on earth and invited the Buddha to preach the Dhamma. This is the custom, because whenever Buddhas appear, they don't just go forth and teach the Dhamma to others. They will think about the Dhamma. Yes, this Dhamma that he has discovered is very deep. And whether people can understand the complexity and the depth of this Dhamma is very, very deep and not easy to understand. And so there must be an invitation. So Brahma Sahampati appeared on this earth, stood in front of the Buddha, paid respect to him, and invited him to start the mission of opening the eyes of human beings and other beings, so that they might escape, they might overcome their suffering. So these are the Brahma beings that appeared in the Buddha's life. Many others as well. Also, Mahabrahma, that the people prayed to at that time, also came to the Buddha to pay respects to the Buddha, because he acknowledged that the Buddha was wiser than he was. Next, please. So this is a chart of where the Brahma world is situated. You have right in at the bottom the woeful realms, the woeful states. And these are the states of the ghosts, the animals, the hell beings, and the angry ghosts. So they are always in a state of anger and deprivation. They don't have enough. They are unhappy and ignorant. Then we get the human world. The human world is a mixture of happiness and unhappiness. But some people are more unhappy than others. Those that are more happy than others. But it fluctuates. You cannot be happy all the time. On top of that, there are 6, not just 1, 6 Deva heavens, the heavenly worlds. And so those Devas, they are fortunate beings that enjoy the senses. They have very, very enjoyable lives. They can eat well, they can dance well, they can have parties, they can go where they can enjoy the environment. They are always in the state of sensual enjoyment. And so in that respect, you can say that they lead more enjoyable lives than us, more happy lives than us. We have to work, but they don't have to work so hard for their enjoyment. But on top of them, there are 11 planes of the Brahma worlds. And in these Brahma worlds, the characteristic, the nature is contentment. Contentment. They are always happy and they are always contented and peaceful. They can live in that way for billions and billions of years because their lifespan is extremely long. And it is often that even though they live billions and billions of years, not one thought of anger can appear in their minds for that period of time. That is how peaceful they are. Yeah, that is how contented and happy are their minds. So the Buddha said they are very, very contented. But we must remember, they are still within the sphere of samsara. When they finish their time as Brahmas, they will fall down to the lower worlds as well. And the other planes are for the anagamis to practice in order to reach Nibbana. Yeah, it's not open to anyone, not even to the Brahmas. And similar to that are the formless Brahmas. These are Brahmas with mind only. They don't have any material form, no bodies, right? But the 11 planes of the fine material Brahma worlds, they are very, very peaceful, very harmonious worlds where that the Brahma beings love to exist in. Yeah, because they have done a lot of mental training in the past. And because of the peaceful state of their mind, they are able to go into jhana states. They are born in the Brahma world after they pass away from the human world. So these are very, very happy states, very contented states. So we call them, what we are practicing in our minds, Brahma Vihara. It means living in the house of Brahma. It is like we are there with the Brahma beings. Next, please. So we move along to what the great teachers have to say. This is the great teacher. He was a German monk, Venerable Nyanaponika Thera. He has passed away. He lived in Sri Lanka for a very, very long time, until he passed away. After he became a monk, he lived in Sri Lanka. Venerable says, the Brahma Viharas are the great removers of tension, the great peacemakers in social conflict, and the great healers of wounds. We are wounded when we live in this world. People hurt us, and then sometimes we keep the wounds with us and just say, I will never forget them. I will never forgive them. When you say such things, there are wounds in your heart. But Venerable says, these Brahma Viharas heals those wounds suffered in the struggle of existence. Isn't it true, brothers and sisters? As we live in this world, we try to look for happiness. And sometimes the people that are close to us, that are supposed to make us happy, make us the most unhappy, make us the most angry. They hurt us, because we didn't expect them to hurt us. In the same way, we can hurt them as well. When they didn't expect it, we also make mistakes, we hurt them. And then our hearts are covered with all these little wounds. They might have healed, but they never heal completely until we practice the Brahma Vihara. So Venerable says, they level social barriers, build harmonious communities, awaken the slumbering magnanimity. Magnanimity means big heart. Our hearts are big and open to everybody. Long forgotten, revive joy and hope. Long abandoned, we abandon joy and hope. But with the Brahma Viharas, we find them again and promote human brotherhood against the forces of egotism. So we look at the world today. The troubles of the world is because of this egotism. Everybody wants to only look after themselves. If they practice only a little bit of the Brahma Viharas, we will have a much, much better world. So that doesn't mean, we only ask others to practice. We don't practice. We create our own little Brahma heaven around us if we are practicing the Brahma Viharas. Next, please. Here are the words of another famous Buddhist nun. Ayya Khema also has passed away, but she said very clearly, the Brahma Viharas are the only emotions worth having because they are beneficial. They make us happy. Yeah, the loving kindness, the compassion, the sympathetic joy, and the equanimity. These are the only emotions that really benefit us. Next, please. Here is she is also passed away. Yeah, I seem to, gather the words of the wise, but those who have deceased. I call her a saint because she has been made a saint by the Catholic Church. After she passed away, they decided to canonize her. Yeah, but she is also a servant. When she was alive, she was a servant to other human beings. She served them. Yeah, she made their lives more comfortable and more happy and gave their lives meaning. This is what she had to say. Yeah, although you can say that she's not a Buddhist, her words are very Buddhistic. Mother Teresa said, it's not about how much you do, but about how much love you put into what you do that counts. So she was a very loving person. Yeah. And she helped others a lot. And therefore, she is qualified to say these words. Next, please. So what are the Brahma Vihara? How do we understand them? We understand them through these similes. Metta is loving kindness. And the way to understand metta is that we put ourselves in the position of a mother with a baby or a toddler. So our hearts will be full of love, towards this baby or this toddler. Karuna is when you have a child that is not quite healthy, not quite normal, a special needs child. So this child needs more of your care, more of your love, more of your compassion. So that is the mental state, that you are looking at a child of yours that is not quite normal, special needs. Mudita is you have a teenager, and this teenager is enjoying life, having a good time, very healthy, very energetic, with many friends, going out and doing things all the time. So your thoughts are, oh, he is enjoying himself. Because he is happy or she is happy, I am happy. So that is mudita. When other people are happy, we are happy at the same time. And upeka is when we have an adult, as our son or daughter. They are fully grown, they are mature, they know how to look after themselves. So we lessen our bonds with them, our grip on them, because we know that they can look after themselves. They have the maturity, they have the knowledge, they have the ability to look after themselves. All we need to do is look at them. Are you okay? They are okay. We leave them alone. So upeka is like that. You are balanced because you know that the child is able to stand on his or her own 2 feet. Right. So these are the mental states we want to develop. Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upeka. The base of the mental state is metta, because you must be kind first. You must have love first, and then it will be joined by other qualities to make it compassion, to make it sympathetic joy, to make it upekkha. All of these are happy states, and I will explain what they are. Although it might be strange that karuna or compassion makes you happy. Yeah, why does it make you happy? We will examine that. Next, please. And so here is my chart. Yeah, and the chart is where we place metta. Yeah, it is loving kindness or friendliness. And it is achieved when we open our hearts to all beings. Very often, we don't open our hearts to others. We might open our hearts to a small group of people, but we don't open our hearts to other living beings. This is limited. It has its limits. But the 4 Brahma Viharas are limitless. Yeah, it is to all beings. This was the nature of the Buddha's mind. Yeah, he opened his heart. He opened his mind limitlessly to all beings. So metta is loving kindness and friendliness. And I'm sure a lot of us here understand what it is, because we like to open our hearts. Yeah, but we must develop this ability to open our hearts to all beings, not just to our close set of family and friends. Next is karuna. It is compassion or benevolence, and it arises when metta meets with suffering. When we meet with suffering people, we see the real nature of suffering in others. And then the karuna, the compassion, starts to flow. This is the happy reaction to suffering. Is it strange to say happy reaction to suffering? Yeah, in a way, it is strange. But you must not lose the happy state of mind if you are going to help those people who are suffering. Because if you are not composed, you cannot help them. And we will take a look at that in a short while. The next one is mudita, altruistic joy or goodwill towards others. You are happy, I am happy. Yeah, this is where metta meets with the good fortune of others. Others are enjoying good fortune. You see them, you're doing so well. Yeah, you are going up in the world. I am happy for you. It's a much better, but not easy. It's much better than jealousy. But it's not easy to develop this. But once you develop it, you will see that your mind is very steady. Yeah, there is no anger, no hatred, ill will, no jealousy towards other people. You will be very composed. And even if jealousy arises, you overcome it with mudita. The last one is upekkha. As I mentioned, it is equanimity or balance of mind. And it arises when metta and wisdom meets with an unsettled mind. This is the state of mind that needs wisdom in order to see the real nature of existence. Because when we understand the real nature of existence, upekkha will come about when we are balanced. We are not affected by the ups and downs of life. Next, please. Hit the button and this will appear, right? So, the far enemy of metta is ill will or enmity. We understand that. We hate others. And the opposite of hatred is metta. But there is a near enemy. The near enemy looks like metta, but it is not metta. It is hidden. But we need to identify it. The near enemy of metta is sensual desire or attachment. That means to say, We think that we are having metta towards a person of the opposite sex, but nowadays even same sex also, yeah, because there's attraction between people of the same sex. Yeah, Buddhism is okay with such things, right? We do not condemn these people. Yeah, because in life, one life you can be man, one life you can be woman. Yeah, but sometimes you bring across your past tendencies, right? We can discuss that in detail at a different time. But the near enemy of metta is you become attracted and you become attached to people. And that makes you too protective of them. You don't want others to come into the picture and be friendly with that person. That is not right. So you have to be very careful that you are not over attached to the person that you have metta towards. Next, please. Right. Karuna. The far enemy of Karuna is cruelty. We know that. Very easy to see. The far enemy is very easy to see. It is the direct opposite. But the near enemy is pity and grief. Sometimes we have pity for other people, but we don't know what to do. Then we have grief and sorrow and start crying because there's all the suffering that we see in this world. Then we cry and nothing gets done. Our heart become heavy and unhappy, and we cannot help this. It looks like compassion, but it is not compassion. It is the near enemy. So we have to watch out for pity and grief, as we go along. Next, please, mudita. The far enemy of mudita is jealousy, and the near enemy is worldly joy, but you want to get something from that person. You are doing so well. You are getting promoted. Let me be your friend. Then after that, can I get something from your promotion? That is deviousness. It's cunning mind. It looks like mudita, but it is not. Then we get upekha. Next please. Upekha, the far enemy is irritation. We have an irritated mind. We cannot be at rest. We are not steady, balanced in our mind. The near enemy is, I don't care. I'm practicing upekha, but actually, I don't care. You die lah. It's your business. I am practicing upekha. That is not upekha. There is no feeling or apathy for those people. They suffer is their business. I need to practice upekha. No, that is not the way to have real equanimity. You are balanced, you are steady, but you can see the nature of their life. And then seeing the nature of their life, you can help them. Okay, right. I'm aware that time is coming to an end. Let me go through a few more slides. Next, please. So, in order to practice the Brahma Vihara, there are a few guiding principles. Number one is acceptance. We need to accept what is going on in this world. It's not a perfect world. It is samsara. It will never be perfect. It might be perfect for some time, but after that, it changes. So we need to accept that. So what happens when we radiate metta towards somebody who is not well, who is sick, who is ill? First of all, we need to accept the nature of that person's sickness. If we are ill, if we are sick, we also need to accept the nature of our own sickness. Then only, we can radiate the metta, the karuna, and whatever. We have to accept the nature of the world first, how things are first. Then the next one is we practice these 4 Brahma Viharas with softness of mind. Because if you cannot practice the Brahma Viharas properly, then it must be motivated by intention. What does it mean? It means that you must want to do it. You don't just accidentally do it, or somebody tells you to do it, you do it. It must be from your own heart. You must have that intention of practicing with metta, helping with karuna, dealing with people with mudita, and balancing the world with upeka. Then we must also have the joy of absence. What is this joy of absence? It is quite interesting. Please listen very carefully. We appreciate that we don't have hatred. I don't have hatred now. I don't have anger now in my mind. I appreciate it. Because I don't have anger now, I can practice metta. I can practice karuna. I can practice mudita. I can practice upekha. So work towards the joy of absence. There's a lot more to it, but it is looking at the world with wisdom. And if there is wisdom, you need to guide the mind with these four, shall we say, pointers. Yeah, these four principles. Principle is a very big word. The 4 points. And then we will be able to bring about these 4 states, much more easily. Okay. So one more slide. Let me see. What more I can cover. Next, please. And these are the suggestions, because the 4 Brahma Viharas can counteract or balance each other. If you get too attached to a person or an outcome, you, with metta, apply compassion, or apply upekha. If you are getting overwhelmed with suffering, that means you try to practice karuna, but suddenly your heart starts to shake and then you start to cry. What do? You balance it with equanimity, upekha. If you become so intoxicated with somebody, is wonderful, or way of being, that you start to crave for their belongings, you have to practice mudita. I'm so happy that you are happy, because sometimes we want to get the person's happiness as well. How come they are happy, I'm not happy? Let me mix with them so that I can be happy, right? Then if you practice mudita, you can be also as happy as them. And the last thing, if you become more indifferent, I just don't care, the world is like that, what can I do? I just leave it alone. You must balance that with metta, loving kindness. Don't be so hard-hearted. Don't be so, so like a rock. Your mind becomes like a rock. You can balance that with loving kindness, with metta. So I see that time is limited. I wanted to do some practice. It will continue. So please join me for the next talk, which is, I think, Brother Chuan, has given me the slot in 2 weeks' time. And if you find it very interesting, please join me, join us, so that we can look at it more in depth and unlock the secrets to looking at the world in a more positive way, so that the positiveness of these Brahma Viharas will also envelop us and change our minds, change our way of looking at the world, make us more positive, more loving, more compassionate, and more happy as well. And as I said to you, it can spread. Scientific research shows it spreads. So therefore, have the good states of mind and see how it spreads into your family, into your community, into the larger society. Okay, so I will stop here for the moment. Thank you very much for your attention.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Brother Sangchai, for this very profound and insightful introductory talk to the Brahma Vihara that give us an insight on how to awaken ourselves to the proper way to respond to the reality, to the harsh reality of the world,
Yes.
with a proper mind state of metta, karuna, mudita, and upekkha, so that we can have a happy and peaceful life. Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, now is a Q&A session. Do you have any questions for Brother Sangchai? Brother Sangchai, when a person has suffered consistently for years in a harsh and cruel world around the world around him, he may think it is a waste of time and energy to have metta for others. What can we advise him to transform the state of his mind?
Well, dear brothers and sisters, in order to practice the Brahma Viharas well, efficiently, we need to have a small measure of wisdom. Because if you are not wise, you will think that what I'm saying cannot be applied. But there is a little bit of wisdom that says, hey, it might be true. It might be possible. And we can see that it was possible through the actions of certain people around the world, the very unusual people. So if we want, who changed history, who changed the nature of the world around them. But it also happens in very small pockets here and there. One of these people is Nelson Mandela, the great Nelson Mandela, who has also passed away. He was put in prison by the government, and he was in prison for at least, I think, 24, 25 years. He was taken away from his loved ones and put in the prison so that his ideas wouldn't influence others. He wanted a more equitable, a more fair treatment for his people. So the government didn't like that, imprisoned him. Then things change. The world changed. The nature of looking at society also changed, and he was let out. And he said, after 25 years, if I walk out of the door and I bring my anger with me, I will still be the same person. Even though I'm free, I will drag, I will carry, I will put on my shoulders the anger, the hatred, the ill will. Yep, I experience after 25 years of being in prison. If I take it out there with me, I cannot be useful to society. So he left everything. All his anger, his hatred, his ill will, his animosity, he left it in that prison, and he walked out the door with a clear mind. And then he became the president of South Africa. And he changed the nature of that society. True, we are surrounded by harsh people. True, we are surrounded by people who don't see the world the same way we see it. But in my next talk, I will explain more. I'm already preparing the next talk. In my next talk, I will try and convince you more. Yeah. Just as the Buddha said just now in the Dveda Vitakka Sutta, the more we think, the more we will be like that. The more we think angry thoughts, the more we will be hateful and angry people. And then we will answer the call of violence. The violent people in this world, they didn't start off violent. People gave them violent ideas. They began to be attracted by violent thoughts. And so this violence, gain a position, a foothold in their minds. And this violence, the anger, the hatred, became stronger and stronger until it is very easy for them to go and hurt other people without blinking their eyes. They can chop somebody's head off, in the videotape without blinking their eyes. So these minds have been overtaken by the hatred and the anger. So what must we do? We must first of all use our wisdom to recognize that position. We cannot go any further. If we go further and start thinking more and more and start complaining, and pointing fingers, our lives will be ruined. We will go down one way that has no happiness at all. The people who hurt others think that they are happy, but they are not happy because later on they go and hurt more people in order to be happy. So they keep on hurting people to be happy. What kind of life is that? I need to hurt others. I need to see people dying, in order to be happy. It's not a good life. We cannot live our lives that way. So we must change, our way of thinking with the little bit of wisdom. We turn our thoughts away. And as I have shown you, I hope I have convinced you with the research from Harvard University. If you change here, you change the way that you see life, you will affect the people around you. This person, that person, and this person, that person will take it further into the community. There's a lot more information there that I would like to share with you during the coming talks. It tells you about the percentages of how you can influence others. There's a lot more information. But this is what I think. If we don't have the wisdom to change, our minds will stay like this all the time and we will be suffering. Let me tell you this story. Once Ajahn Brahm was talking in a conference, and he was talking about how we can use positive states of mind to forgive people who have wronged us, who have done something bad towards us, so that we can let go and then we can start healing. And then he said, use the metta in order to heal yourself. Then you can get on with your life. Don't let the one bad action or one incident confine you to that time. That means when that happens, you are living in that incident or that bad happening again and again and again, and you can't progress in your life. So many people clapped because they were very happy to hear what Ajahn Brahm was saying, and they began to heal. They began to get better. After his speech, one woman came and talked to him and said, Ajahn Brahm, I cannot let go, certain things that happened to my daughter. Something very bad happened to the daughter died. Somebody harmed her. I cannot let go the anger, because when I let go the anger means I let go my daughter. And Ajahn Brahm could not convince her to let go of her anger. So she will live her life until the death, until her last breath, with that anger in her heart. And let me tell you, the Buddha says, if you die with that sort of anger, the next place you go to is not a good place. You will go and join those very angry, very hateful beings, not the Brahma beings. You won't go near them. You will go and suffer with those other angry beings who have no happiness in their lives. So the choice is ours. It's not easy to make the choice. I can understand, because we can be hurt very deeply. But the choice is whether you want to open up, whether you want to adopt the way to heal your wounds, the hurt that you have experienced. And when you do, you will find that the first thing people do, the people who have hurt, and they accept metta, and Karuna, the first thing that they do is cry. They will cry because they have kept the tension in their mind for so long and they didn't want to let go. They didn't know how to let go. When they listened to Ajahn Brahm, they let go. So it is like the dam breaking. All their bad thoughts, their hurt, their pain, the pain in the mind came out like a dam broken, a broken dam. And they cry and they cry. Yeah. But Ajahn Brahm said, good, you cry. But after the crying, you heal. You become human being again. Yeah. Don't go, because your state of mind now, if you are angry and hurt, there is this group called the Asura. They are angry and hurt all the time. They want to disturb others. They want to hurt others. They are angry all the time. So if you die like that, you will go and join them and you will stay like that. And the Asuras, because they are so angry, they never get a good chance for good rebirth. So because they are angry, they die angry, and then they will go further down, maybe even to the hell world. Yeah, this is what we understand. So this is not the way to go. Yeah, the world is not perfect. The world is full of suffering, but we have to have, as I said, right at the beginning, right view, Samma Ditti, and right thought, Samma Sankappa, and then we start to walk the right path. And when we walk the right path, happiness will appear in us. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, I hope I didn't take up too much.
Yeah, thank you, Prasang Chai, for the long but very excellent answer, and also giving us a very good, very inspirational story of this Nelson Mandela, who can be so Buddhistic in his action. That for us as Buddhists have learned so much about Metta, Karuna, Mudita, and Upekkha, and the Buddhist way of life. All the more that we can be just as Buddhistic or even more. I think we have a
Yes. Okay,
we have a
another
few
question.
we have a few more questions, but we try to answer two. Because
Yes.
this question from W.H. Chan from CPA. Does other religion where they are teaching love, peace, caring, and sharing also follow this similar as the Buddhist Brahma Vihara of Metta, Mudita, Karuna, etc.?
Oh, yeah.
They're similar.
I really don't. Maybe I will explain further in the next talk. We have how do you say? We have a box or a drawer. The drawer in our minds, and in this drawer there are 52 components or 52 units. These are called cetasika. Everyone, most people, unless they are not born complete, there is some defect in the mind. Most people, who are born normal will have 52 of these. So we have 52 ingredients in the mind. And some of these ingredients are, you can look up this word, they are called cetasika. So these things, these 52, not all of them, depending on us, our conditioning and the environment, the circumstances, they will appear in the mind according to what is happening and according to how we have trained ourselves as well. These love, peace, compassion, all that are in everybody's mind. So we cannot have a trademark. We cannot tell people, hey, this thing only belong to Buddhists, they don't belong to others. There was one time I read this book, it talked about, I have to mention it, Christian charity, as though charity only belongs to Christianity. No, you look at the way Buddhists give, according the perform dana. Charity does not belong to one religion, one person, or one group or race. It belongs to every human being or other beings, with the full set of cetasika. So if we encourage, as I said, our thinking, the cetasika of metta, karuna, and all this will appear more. Why? Training. We train ourselves. And this is what I want to get into later on. How do we train the mind to be more kind, to be more friendly, to be more compassionate, to be more loving? So if you train the mind, these things will come out more often. If you train your mind on the cetasika that are unwholesome, and there are 14 of them that are unwholesome, like anger and ill will, then you will have a life full of anger and ill will. Is anger and ill will the sole copyright of Buddhists? No, other people also have anger and ill will. Right? So it doesn't mean that it is just confined to us Buddhists who want to practice it. But there's another thing I must say. The practice of this is the most systematic when explained by the Buddha, because the Buddha's wisdom allowed him to see the complete picture. And then he taught us how to practice this in a very meaningful way so that we can change our lives. So that is what we are hoping to tap on, what we are hoping to use the Buddha's wisdom on how to practice this so that at the end of our life, even if we don't get enlightened and go to Nibbana, which a lot of people are hoping, we can at least spend long time in the Brahma world, where there is no ill will, no anger, no hatred. You can live billions. How often are we angry? Sometimes we read the newspaper, we get the WhatsApp a lot. We just get a WhatsApp note. We read it, already get angry. Right? We get angry. But these are the beings that don't get angry, not because they don't have WhatsApp. It's because their mind don't have that quality of getting angry. They just don't. Their mind always happy and contented and peaceful. So if we practice it, the Buddha said, at least, if you are not enlightened and go to Nibbana, you can go to the Brahma worlds. So this is what we are hoping for. Right. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, Sadhu for the very good clarification. That all these good values of love, compassion, etc., are not the monopoly of any religion.
No one. Human mind. Human mind. Right.
So due to time constraint, we can have one more last question. One more last question, please. From Sister Eileen Tan, KCBA, I think. How do we overcome when we pity or have grief on the suffering while we help them?
This is, as I mentioned, the understanding of suffering. A person who doesn't understand dukkha. Again, remember, I said when we start off, there must be right view. What is right view? Right view is the understanding of the Four Noble Truths. And what is the first noble truth? Dukkha. The second noble truth, the cause of dukkha. The third noble truth, the end of dukkha. And the fourth noble truth is the way to the end of dukkha. So when we have this understanding, we can work with the suffering without suffering. But if we don't have this understanding, when they suffer, we suffer. When you suffer as much as the environment, you cannot be a good benefactor. You cannot help them a lot, because then your mind will be so heavy, your heart will be so heavy, you will be affected by the suffering. The Buddha, he was an enlightened being, and the Arahants, they saw the suffering. They want to help us overcome the suffering, but they themselves did not suffer. So we use this as our example, right? We can go out and help them. We can see there are so many Buddhists going out to help others, but you have to be very careful that you are not affected. So your understanding of suffering, your understanding not just of suffering, of karma comes into play. They are suffering because of their karma. Who gave it to them? Their karma. It is not a punishment from above. No. They did the unwholesome act, and therefore the karma follows them. They cannot be free from it until that karma is over. When that karma is over, then they will be free of it. But until that karma is over, let me, because I am practicing karuna, compassion, let me try and make you as comfortable as possible until your karma, which is unwholesome, is finished, run its course, over. Then I will be happy. So this is the nature. We cannot go out there and, some psychologists, psychiatrists, many of them become depressed. When they treat the mentally ill people, they listen to the stories of the mentally ill, then they start with what is happening with the patient, they themselves become depressed. It happens a lot. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I remember 30 or more percent of the psychiatrists and psychologists, they become depressed when they are treating the patient. Yeah, so 30% is a lot, 1/3 of them. You can go and check it up, online. So when we start to identify with them, then we cannot help them as much as we can. So we need to reinforce, we need to strengthen our mind with karuna, not with pity or grief. Yeah, we cannot go and cry with them. Cry. Yeah, I see you're suffering. Yeah, I see that you are so badly in pain and all that. Yeah, then you cry. After crying, nothing is happening. So the compassion is, I understand your suffering. Now let me try and alleviate your suffering, relieve your suffering. Yeah, if you are hungry, I give you food. If you are sick, I give you medicine and medical aid. Whatever it is. Yeah, so you can see that the helpers in the UNHCR and all this, they are helping people, but their minds are strong, so that they can help as much as possible. It doesn't mean that they are hard-hearted. They work because they can see suffering, and they go out there to the suffering places. If you offer it to some of us, we will not go to the suffering place because there's so much suffering. But they are very strong in their mind. Yeah, they want to go to where the suffering is, and they help others to overcome their suffering, to feel more comfortable, to feel more relief. Yeah, so that is real compassion. Yeah, they are not overtaken by the near enemy of grief or sorrow. Right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sadhu. Due to time constraint, we have to stop here. We apologize to not be able to answer all the questions. But nevertheless, once again, we thank you, Brother Sangchai, for the very interesting, very profound and inspiring Dhamma talk this morning, and also the enlightening question to enlightening answer to many of the good questions that our devotees posed. I think this morning session, the morning Dhamma sessions, is good to lead us or to incline our mind towards metta, karuna, mudita, and upekkha, good states of mind, so that we can live a happier, more contented, and a more peaceful life. Thank you so much, Brother Sangchai. On behalf of devotees, we express our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to you Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much, Brother Tan Sang Chai, for that wonderful Dharma talk, the divine Brahma Vihara. There's so much that we need to take action. As stated earlier, we will have a next session on Sunday, 24th October. Just remember to join us on every Sunday, as we need to practice, not just listening to the Dharma talk, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha. Have wisdom to change ourselves. When we are hurt, that we lost of anger, we need to adapt. We need to take action. Let us practice. Be aware of our thoughts and actions. Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, we have participated in this Sunday Buddha Puja service with a calm mind listening to the Dharma talk and wonderful Q&A session. With the merits accrued, let us share and dedicate merits to all living and departed relatives, families and friends, and all beings. Let us dedicate merits to those who have fallen ill. May they have a speedy recovery. Brothers and sisters of Dharma, the sharing of the merits. Idang imang no punya bagang mata pitunancha acharyanancha sabba satanancha sabba mitanancha sabba nyatinancha sabba petanancha sabba devatanancha bhajema. Imang no punya bagang sabba satanang dema sabbe sata sukita hontu. Idang menyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyadayo. Idang menyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyadayo. Idang menyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyadayo. Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana patiya. Idang me punyang asawakaya vahang hotu. Idang me punyang nibbanasa pacayo hotu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, before we end, let us pay homage to the Tribhujan. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. To all devotees, thank you very much for participating with lots of responses, likes, love, and responses in the comment box. Please continue to help me to thank the speaker, Brother Tan Sang Chai. We have a wonderful talk and a lot of good participation from you. This is the end of the 63rd online Sunday Buddha Puja service. We will continue with the next Sunday Buddha Puja on Sunday 17th October. Safe, well, happy, and peaceful always. Sukhi Hontu. Goodbye. Sabbe Sata Sukita Hontu.
Bahung sahan semabhinim mitesayudantang ngirimi kelang uditegora sasene marang dana di dhamma vidina jitwa munindo ta